Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another HD broadcast, and we are going to be looking today at a Protoss versus Terran game on Metalopolis, and the players are going to be on the Asian server, actually Korean players, and this Protoss player is Iz. That's the name that was on the replay file, so I'm going to pronounce it as Iz, and if any of you guys can read the Korean language or the Korean characters, then maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section down below, but his opponent is going to be Mayawera, and very familiar to the name Celoera, so I'm not sure if they're the same or if they're different, but it is going to be Mayawera. Perhaps they're in the same clan or group or organization. But it is going to be a Terran versus Protoss, and I'm really excited to be bringing this cast to you guys because, hey, we haven't probably seen a Terran versus Protoss in ages. I think the last time I did a TVP was back in the days of the beta, so this is going to be real interesting. TVP has evolved a little bit since the beta days. Mech is a little bit more popular now than 3M is, Marine, Marauder, Medvax, and there's just a lot of openings, a lot of possibilities. It's already interesting to note that the Protoss has not walled in. He's actually putting his gateway in a very strange position just outside the pylon powering it, and I don't really know what the reasoning for that is. I really think that in any matchup it's always a wise idea to use your ramp, wall off as much as you can, but we'll see what the strategy behind that is. Iz is also going to be getting his cybernetics or his assimilator right after the gateway goes down. So he is going to be looking to tech up and get that Stalker out as quickly as he can. Very common for Protoss players. They don't really rely on Zealots too much in TVP, just like in Brood War. It's all about getting that gas, getting that technology running. Same here for Mayawera. He's getting a relatively fast, or excuse me, standard gas right here. Not going to be walling in. So he's got the barracks, got the refinery, 12 racks, 13 refinery, but not walling in either. So he is going to be moving that scouting SCV out, and he's got the orbital command on the way. Both players here opening very standard, cybernetics core coming down at 15 as well. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this game. Both players have a relatively close spawn position by air, so look for Void Rays to be a very powerful opening. Hidden Void Rays here or even here in the gas. That can be extremely potent against the unsuspecting Terran. And we have Mayawera here getting a reactor on his barracks, so he is going to be pumping out some Marines out of this barracks, and I think he's going to try to get a factory down, although he's only got one SCV mining gas right now, so really not too concerned about the gas. And I thought for sure Mayawera would try to get 100 gas quickly, get a factory down, and then possibly try to pump out some Hellions. But we do have him getting his SCV, scooting on into Iz's base. Iz getting Warp Gate researched, so he might try to do some early pressure with a fast Warp Gate. He needs to get rid of the scouting SCV though, and that is why Protoss players want to get that Stalker out as quickly as they can. He's got to take out the scouting SCV, and this SCV is going to fall down to the Stalker. So all scouting denied, didn't really see anything too interesting. We have a second Stalker on the way, getting chrono boosted out though, so Iz might try to do some early pressure against Mayawera. Mayawera now getting, oh my goodness, he's getting a command center. I'm not even sure why he even needed the gas, and just kind of farming that gas right now. Not sure what the reasoning behind that is, because I'm assuming now he's going to try to open with 3 barracks and go for that 1 Rax FE that we see a lot of Terran players like to do against Protoss, and he is going to be throwing down a second barracks right now, so I'm not quite sure what the extra gas is for. He hasn't really made any use for it whatsoever. He's at 150 right now. Could have been a lot more minerals, but here we go. Early pressure from Iz, and the bunker with those 4 Marines are going to hold off the Zealot and Stalker combination. A third barracks getting thrown down here, and still the gas not really being put to use for Mayawera. He doesn't really need the refinery or the SCVs mining the gas this early on, and he's just kind of stockpiling it, where the SCVs could have been mining minerals. But he is essentially going for a 1 Rax FE, and he's going to transition into most likely 3M. We've seen this build from Terran players very, very often before. Protoss response from Iz here is going to be getting a Nexus out, a pretty fast expansion down at the front door, because he knows that the Terran is going for a fast expand. He hasn't even scanned, but just judging from the bunker and the amount of Marines, he's assuming that the Terran player is going for a fast expansion here, and he's going to grab his own Nexus. So pretty wise play from Iz, also getting a robotics facility after the 2 gateways goes down, so pretty much 2 gate robo into a Nexus, and look for Mayawera to eventually move out with this command center. Right now he's just pumping SCVs out. He knows he cannot hold the front door just yet to a Protoss attack. He does need a couple bunkers in the front. He's getting 2 tech labs down on the barracks, and he's going to research the, actually getting 3 tech labs down, and he's going to be researching Stimpak. Look for him to get concussive shells for the Marauders as well, and he's moving out with the command center, so he is going to finally secure this natural expansion, not throwing up any bunkers yet. He's going to try to scout and see what the Protoss composition is. And if he's going to see this Nexus, I think. No, he is not. He's going to actually lose SCV, so he still doesn't know what's up, but I think he's going to throw a couple bunkers up just for safety's sake. And here we go. He's going to move out his Marines and a couple Marauders, moving his SCVs to Maynard over to the natural door. And he's got 3 barracks fully producing Marauders right now. So he knows right now he's up against gateway units. Surprised he hasn't gotten at least a bunker for safety. But every unit really does count, and building a bunker can set you back a Marauder or a handful of Marines. So Mayoera here, knowing what's up, he's not going to get another bunker down. He is going to research the Stimpak and the shields for Marines. He still hasn't gotten concussive shells yet. Very interesting why he hasn't. I think that's got to be a mistake. He's got so many Marauders now. I guess he doesn't have the gas really. But an observer coming in for is going to see exactly what's up. A factory going down on the reactor. And I think that is going to know exactly how to respond to this combination of units. He needs to get Colossus. He also needs Immortals against some Marauders. And he can really use some Psystorm. Psystorm just eats biological armies apart for breakfast. A second observer coming in for Iz. So he really knows exactly what the Terran player is up to. He's basically got map packs over his base. Whereas Mayoera has no clue what is going on. He doesn't even see the robotics bay pumping out the Immortals. He doesn't even know the Protoss player is on an expansion. He can kind of go off a guess, but there we go, a scan going down. So now Mayoera knows exactly what's going on in the Protoss base. He even caught the unit composition. So great scan right there. A third command center going down for Mayo. And I think all these players are just going to transition to the straight up macro mode play. We have a factory floating out though, and Iz should have seen that with his observer. Maybe he wasn't paying attention, but I think Mayoera is just using this factory to scout. He's not going to try to proxy anything. He's actually just building a starport right on that reactor, and he's going to try to get dropships out, which of course increase the survivability as well as the mobility of the 3M composition. Yeah, the factory is just going to be used to scout. I really like this from Mayoera. Make use of every building you possibly can. And really, this factory can stay alive for a long time. It has 1250 HP and 1 armor. We have a Twilight Council and Templar Archives going up. So the Protoss player is really doing what's needed against this biological composition, getting Psystorm, chrono boosting the Psionic Storm research out. He could use a couple more warp gates. Yeah, he's throwing down 2 more. And so it's going to come down to a massive Psystorm versus Marauder Marine army. The observers here spotting the move out from Mayoera. Mayoera sees the storm being researched as well as the Zealot legs charge. So he wants to engage the Protoss player before he has charge and before he has storm. So this is a great move out from Mayoera, but he's actually gonna fall back. Oh man, I thought for sure he would have pushed forward. I think right now he has the advantage. He could have crushed that Protoss army with Stimpak, but he is gonna fall back. Let's go ahead and take a look at the income. Both players dead even on 50 and 49 harvesters, and for Mayoera, he's at 110 supply, whereas Iz is at 100. So Iz just slightly lower. And that's of course because Mayoera did get that second command center out so much earlier. But here we go, Mayoera finally going to be pushing out. He has no upgrades for his infantry, going to be throwing down a couple more barracks. Has that starport still, saturating the third base, so he's really got his economy rolling right now. And if he can engage the Protoss before the Protoss can get Templar to storm, does he have any Templar? He does have some, but they do not have enough energy to storm quite yet, but I think they will by the time Mayoera pushes up there. And it's all going to come down to how Mayoera dodges those Psystorms. If he gets caught out of position, that could be very nasty. Using a really early stim there, that's going to hurt a little bit. Going to drain those dropships' energy. I don't really think a stim there was quite necessary, but here we go. Gonna take out that pylon. Nice from Mayoera, but not sure if he needed to waste a stim on that. And is gonna be morphing in a couple more Zealots. Notice that he is relatively worried about that push, and he has 2 Templars for Storm. So if he can get some good storms off, he should be okay. Mayoera securing a 4th expansion as well, so really kicking into macro gear. And is not yet securing a 3rd. He really does need to though, and he's moving that probe up to take that Nexus control. Observer here over the watchtower to see what Mayoera is up to. Currently at 137 supplies. Still no weapons or armor for that biological army. He is getting ghosts to get that EMP shockwave out, and that is going to be absolutely crucial. If he can EMP those Templars, that is just going to negate any Psystorm, and it's just going to be so huge. Notice he's already got 2 in his unit composition. APM for both players really, really high. And I'd just like to see we have Kydarian Amulet pumping out for the Templar, so they have that energy right when they come out. We have a Planetary Fortress being morphed in down here at the 3rd base.